There we are.
Hi.
We're back.
Did you miss us? I missed us.
I miss you.
Oh, it's nice to have you back.
I know. I was in Cuba. Can you see the color? Nice.
Especially next to me.
Right? I'm a little bit peeling though. I don't know if you can see it on here, but
That's all right. You're shedding your layer.
I am.
Yeah. An appropriate time for that.
Yeah.
This new moon is very like new chapter.
It is.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of clearing that has taken place. Last year we were in a big clearing, a lot of heavy stuff.
Yeah.
And it carried through into January, at least for me anyways too.
Oh yeah, me too. And most people that I spoke with.
Yeah. But now I feel with this new moon, it's almost as if the things that I was like thinking about and really wanting to put into place, I really feel confident that I can start to
That it's
put
gonna
them
happen.
together.
Yeah. It was so strange. For me, I felt like February 1st, it was like a switch flicked in me. And I felt like I could breathe better or
Right.
something. Yeah.
January was heavy and it went really
Yeah.
fast.
Oh, I felt like it went really slow.
No, for me it went really
Well, it
fast.
was like just
Yeah.
really long for me.
Yeah. And as all of you can see, I've been growing out my grays. I don't know what everyone thinks about it, but I'd love to hear your comments because some days I feel really uncomfortable and insecure, but then other days I feel like a badass mama, like just
Because you are fucking rocket.
killing it with the grays. But beautiful Sarah found me this Instagram account called Gromby.
I think
And
so.
it's women who are growing out their grays, who are around my age and even younger, and they're like at different stages of it, and they're just supporting one another and showing their photos. So at some point when I'm brave enough,
Might
I
share.
might share.
Yeah.
So if you're wondering why isn't she not coloring her hair,
It's on purpose.
it's on purpose.
It's planned that way.
Planned it for now, and I might change my mind.
You have the freedom to do
And
that.
I have the freedom to do that. But
Mhm.
right now, since September, I made the choice for myself to stop doing it. And it was just something inside of me that just naturally said, it's time.
Yeah, and roll with it.
Yeah, but it's been uncomfortable. Like I will pass by the mirror and go, ooh, like I don't recognize myself because it just feels weird. And then I'll do certain hairstyles that kind of,
Oh, we should get you a Kristen
it up,
Harrington art
you know?
headband. They're beautiful.
oh, a headband.
Yeah.
Someone else told me I should be rocking a headband or even a hat, but I was like, but then I cover it. But I've actually had a lot of people message me and say that it looks sexy too. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we should do
I
a
think
poll
it's great.
at the end of our account.
That's right. You should chime in.
Yeah, and even if you don't like it, it's okay. It won't hurt my feelings.
No, we just like honesty.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
So tonight's a new moon. So I'm hoping that all of us who are gathering here tonight at the end will just take a few moments and we'll set some new moon intentions, which is why I'm using the Moonology deck.
It's very appropriate for tonight.
Right?
Yeah.
So would you like to pick the card, my love?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And while you're picking the card, I'll just welcome everybody. And if we can all just close our eyes if you choose. And we're going to just take one big breath together just to kind of collectively bring in that energy. So we'll just take one nice big inhale. And a nice exhale through the mouth. And just allow for your energy to kind of center in your heart and to be open and ready to listen and hopefully share in the comments. We do read them after. And let's just talk.
Yeah. So on Instagram this morning, and then a little bit later on this afternoon on Facebook, we put it out there for questions. We love to hear from you. We love to hear if there's any questions. It could be something heavy. It could be something light. It could be about gray hair. It could be about spiritual rituals. It could be about all the things.
Yep.
So we had a few questions come in. So we thought we would choose 3 of them. And then the way that we would roll this out is I will ask them to be here and then she'll ask them to me. I'm sure there'll be some similarities in our responses, but we'll each have our own unique experiences to
share.
Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for.
You know, I feel like everyone has a different lens that we view the world from. And so it's so interesting when someone asks a question, the response that a person gives is always their perspective.
Exactly. That's all you can offer is your perspective.
And it's always based on our own personal belief systems that have been deeply rooted in us since childhood and even beyond.
Mhm.
You know, if we want to take it into a spiritual realm and move past into incarnations and then ancestral lines and genetics and DNA. But for tonight's conversation, we'll just keep it to here and now in this lifetime.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's relative to you answer to the path that you're on now too.
That's
like Sarah that's going to answer questions tonight would answer these very differently than Sarah of 10 years ago.
Absolutely.
You know? Yeah.
Even 6 months
Even
ago.
6 months ago, you're right.
We're constantly growing and evolving. So for me, and I like to stress this too, is that it's okay for your truth to be something today, but then a week from now or 2 weeks from now, or even a month from now, decide that that no longer resonates with you and that it's okay to take a different path. Like we no longer have to be rooted in tradition or what we feel. Like if we said, oh, well, I said I was going to do this, so now I have to do it
because I put it out there.
You don't have to do it. I said I'm going to grow my grace, but if I wake up one day and it doesn't make me fully happy, I have a choice to color it.
Color those,
right? So it's not like I'm letting anyone down, or it's just this is where I'm at now. This is what I'm experiencing. My truth that I'm exploring.
Yeah, and I would couple that. Sorry, I just totally cut you off. I would also couple that with you also don't owe anyone an explanation as to why you changed your mind.
That's right.
Yeah,
absolutely. Because our life is our own personal journey, and we are so free to experience so many different things. Let's say hi to everybody. So having said that, would you like me to ask the questions to you first, or would you like to ask me first?
It doesn't matter. What do you feel like?
Oh, whatever you want, love.
I'm going to ask you the questions.
Okay.
So someone commented and said that they find motivation and change hard. So how do you break old patterns?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I can resonate with the motivation part. And for me, change is something that I'm really good at. And that kind of comes back to my astrological sign. So I'm a Scorpio. And so Scorpios are constantly transforming. We're always in transformation. So for me to be in one scenario one day and have it completely uprooted and in another, I'm kind of used to that in my own energy. So that part for me doesn't feel like a challenge, but I can kind of talk into how I work through change.
Yeah.
The motivation part I can completely resonate with, because since I really started digging deeper into my spiritual journey, I found that I was less physical. So I'm more what's the word? Sedimentary? You know, when you're just sitting more?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I've put on like 18 pounds. Can't button my jeans, but it's okay because I'm going to get motivated.
Yeah.
And I'm committing myself to getting healthier. So how do I find that motivation? Is I hold myself accountable. So I set little goals for myself. So what I'll do is I'll post a picture of either where I looked really healthy and happy, and then I look at that and it brings me that inspiration to be like, okay, I want to start walking again, or I want to, go to yoga. And so I'll commit myself and say, okay, I want to go 2 days a week, and I will ask somebody else to hold me accountable.
That's important for me too.
So I'll tell a friend, look, I'm not feeling as motivated as I was before. So if I grab for the handful of M&Ms, say something to me. Just make a comment and tell me, do you need that? Or they'll message me and say, have you gone to yoga today? Or have you gone for your walk?
Right.
And then it puts it back on me to then say, okay, have I honored my commitment to myself to do that today? And if I haven't, then I kind of have to go a little bit deeper and ask myself, why? So there's always a reason why we don't feel motivated. And a lot of the times for me, it feels like there's some underlying emotion that I haven't kind of felt or allowed myself to heal or bring to the surface.
Yeah. You haven't sort of dealt with that.
That's
whatever
right.
that is.
Right.
Yeah.
Because when I'm feeling good, I'm active and I'm exercising. And so I kind of chase that. So I went to yoga today and I snuck it in between work and coming here. And it's the best thing I could have done. I was super tired driving there, but I put on music that I love to hear. So it was kind of pumping me up.
Jazz you up a little bit.
And as soon as I got there, I felt really good. And then coming home, having the shower, and that's that energy that I kind of feed off of.
Yeah. And then you have to sort of remember what that feels like and ride in that wave.
That's right.
Yeah.
But I usually have other people kind of help me.
Some accountability.
My girl Dawn is really good at that. My partner in
Great.
Equal Essence. Yeah. She really helps me a lot to keep me motivated, because we have like a really competitive energy with each other, not in our business, but in the sense of we drive each other.
Which is so important. It's so important to have people in your life that push you and drive you. I mean, not in a like awful way, but in a motivational way, because they see your best. They know your potential and they want you to achieve that. So they're always pushing you. It's so good to have those people around you instead of just yes people all the time, I find.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, and then in regards to change, it's almost like shifting your mindset when you think of change. So for me, change is exciting. So that's the perspective that I take. It's like, ooh, something new.
Ooh, a new thing.
What it's like Christmas every day, or, you know, what is going to unfold. And even if it's good or bad, because of the spiritual work that I've done, and I'm in such a really solid place in who I am, and I know that I have lots of love and integrity inside of me, the change is not going to tilt me either way. So even if it's comfortable or uncomfortable, I know that I can still handle anything that comes.
Yeah, your
with
feet
grace.
are firmly planted.
Yeah, because I feel rooted and solid in who I am. So I feel like when we can stand in our truth and in who we are, when change comes, we have the ability to kind of navigate through it with an intention. And for me, it's always with ease and with grace. And I say that a lot. I always say, you know, whether we're transforming something or moving towards something, I always add that I walk my path with ease and grace. And so because I'm putting those words out, that's the energy that's kind of coming back to me.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's almost like an affirmation that I kind of put in. And so it allows for me to move through change very gracefully. And sometimes, you know, that change is abrupt.
Yes.
It comes very quick. And there is a moment where I'm like, oh, why?
Shit, I wasn't expecting that.
I wasn't ready for that. And then I have a moment to be pissed off and I grieve. I'm really sad about it. But then I give myself that opportunity to feel that. But then
keep going.
I find that sense to just keep going and going, okay, so what am I going to learn from this?
That's right.
Where is this going to lead me now? What doors are going to open now? Because everything's like a choose your own adventure in life.
Totally. Do you find that you're so accepting of change because it's easy for you to just go with the flow of how things are rolling out? Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
But it wasn't before, because I was a type A engineer who kind of had a bit of OCD. So for me, change was frightening. Change for me is rooted in fear. If we are afraid of change, then we're afraid of letting go of the control.
Mm-hmm. That's a major piece of it.
It's rooted in control, and it's control because we don't have control of our own emotions.
And that's why we get so out of line when a change throws us for a loop, because you thought you had all the balls and you were juggling them all and you were in control of everything. And then suddenly the universe comes in to remind you, like, nah, girlfriend, like.
Right. Yeah. But and again, it goes back to, you know, being rooted in here. Like the more you know yourself and you know your truth, you start to just kind of ride the waves of change, and you just know that if there's something that doesn't feel right, it's okay to move in another direction too.
Yeah, I think so.
So do you want to ask all three to me, and then I'll ask all three to you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect.
How do you deal with, or how to deal with unwanted, intrusive thoughts from a spiritual point of view?
Okay. Intrusive thoughts. So that for me is like a really broad question, because then it goes back to interpretation. Mm-hmm. What would you define from your own perspective of what intrusive is? Because for me, at a spiritual level, all of us have intrusive thoughts.
Yeah, it goes back to the dark and the light.
That's right. Yeah. So I have intrusive thoughts. And what I've learned is in the beginning, when they would first come in, but it all depends on the degree of what you think an intrusive thought is. So
exactly.
I've had some pretty dark thoughts about, you know, myself and of hurting others when I've been hurt. That's the Scorpio in me. And when they come in the beginning, I would feel kind of shame. Like I'd be like, I shouldn't be thinking that. That's wrong.
It's almost as if you feel like everyone else knows what you're thinking. And
Right.
You're like, holy shit, turn it off. Like,
Right.
No, I can't let anybody know that I was thinking that.
Absolutely. And then a bit of shame comes in and guilt. It's like, why would I feel that way? Or that is so wrong. But now on my spiritual path, what I've learned is, or my belief system is that there is no right or wrong. There just is. So when we allow for things to kind of just come in and be witnessed and then flow back out, it's like everything passes, everything, whether it's a happy emotion, a sad emotion, anger, grief, it comes in, you kind of feel it like a wave. And if you're non-reactive to it and you just kind of allow yourself to feel it and be in it, it has nothing to do but pass through.
Exactly.
Like we're not feeding the energy. So when something comes in, a thought, and you hold on to it, and then you start cycling through it and thinking and thinking and thinking, you're actually feeding it. So when you're feeding it, it kind of creates like this snowball effect. Like, okay, so now it's a little bit of a thought came in, it's a little bit of snow. And now you're perpetuating, and it's like causing all of this reaction in your body, mentally, emotionally, and you start to have a response to it. So the snowball starts to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And before you know it, you feel like it's out of control.
Yeah. Because you've created this wild scenario in your head about it.
But that's feeding the energy. Whereas if something just kind of comes in, you're like, oh,
I accept you for what you are.
Right. And it's almost like you're taking your power from that intrusive thought. So when you react to something, what you're essentially doing is giving it your power in that moment. And when you can allow for anything to come in and for you to witness it in your own power, eventually at some point it's going to pass. But I will put a disclaimer in that, in the sense that if you feel like these intrusive thoughts are harmful to yourself or to somebody else, and you feel like you don't have control over them, then I would highly recommend that you do call a professional. So I would like to put that in.
Yeah, was going to be. I was going to have a very similar disclaimer there for that. Yeah,
and it's important too that you find somebody to talk about. If you feel like you have nobody, then you can reach out to me. I'm here. You can send me a message. But so that's my answer to that.
Great. Okay. How to get closure and let go. Yeah, that's a big one, hey?
Yeah, because again, closure is
broad.
Very broad. Like, are you talking closure on a relationship, closure on the story that you've been telling yourself? So if I were to use the example of how to get closure and let go, for me, when I work in my sessions with people and I'm helping them heal a relationship or trauma in the body to get closure and let go, I have to hold space for that person and allow for them to be able to see that person, place, or thing, that situation or that energy from a place of compassion, which is acceptance, understanding, and love. And when the person is able to get to that place within their hearts, when they can look at that person who's hurt them or that situation and be able to look into their eyes and still see them from a place of acceptance, understanding, and love, which means you knowing and understanding what your responsibility was in that relationship or situation. So you have to own your part, and then you have to be willing to see and allow for the other person to have their own perspective and experience and own suffering. Because we're all operating from a place of shared suffering. So anytime something happens and it feels like a person's trying to hurt you, it's really just a projection of your own internal wounds. And I know that's a loaded one. You might have to listen to that a couple of times, and I'll say it again. So when you feel or think that somebody's trying to hurt you, it's like an internal projection of your own wound patterns that's kind of coming back at you for you to actually heal within yourself. So that person is actually acting as a catalyst and as a reflection for you to actually grow and evolve. And when we're able to see that, and to see when people come into our lives, to see the good and the bad without labeling it or judging it, but actually seeing it as an opportunity for growth, then we're able to be in relationships already detached.
Yeah. And your well-being is not dependent on how someone else sees you or responds to you or reacts to you.
So it's like neutralizing the charge of what got you upset or hurt or to this place where you had to let go. And then once you can neutralize that and you can go back and revisit the initial trauma or the hurt without a reaction, then you're actually able to let it go.
You're growing.
Yeah. And then you've actually kind of healed that wound. But there's many other layers.
There's so many layers.
You're going to cycle through and do it all over again.
Yeah. And you're going to be like, I thought I dealt with that.
You know, Sarah, that was really fun.
Wasn't that fun? I love questions.
I like doing that.
I love the questions.
So please ask us more questions.
But I can't see because we're sideways.
Okay.
It's okay.
But so now I'm going to ask you.
Okay. I feel like nervous.
Why?
I don't know.
Maybe I'll take a sip of tea first.
Not nervous. Nervous was a silly word. I don't know what I feel.
But I'm just excited to hear your perspective.
Yeah. Because I love that we can each offer a unique perspective. I'm sure there'll be some similarities, but maybe not.
But said in a different way.
Yeah.
Which
so it's going to resonate
understood.
with someone different than...
That's right. Yeah. So it will be heard and felt and received differently by different people.
Yeah.
So sometimes when I talk, I know people don't understand, or they are like, I didn't get that. And I've done that with people too. I can listen to them. They're speaking English.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't understand what that person's saying.
Yeah.
Right? Like Eckhart Tolle, for example. Sometimes you have to read a line in his book 10 times.
Yeah, I struggle. I'm listening to him and Oprah digest it again. Yeah. And it's still a lot for me.
Right.
Yeah.
But every time you hear it, you're going to hear something different.
And that's what's happening this time around. The first time I read the book, I think I finished it and was like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. So you might have to watch us like 5, 6, 7, 10 times.
Yeah. Listen to us. Listen to an audio version of us.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. You ready?
Yeah. Bring it on.
So
I think I'm going into battle.
Our first question was, how do you find motivation? No, I find motivation and change hard.
Yeah.
How do you break old patterns?
Well, I mean, there is the classic, if we want to go to the psychology version of this, is I believe it's 21 days. I probably should have looked this up, but it takes 21 days to build a habit. So sort of depending on what the change is or the old habit that you're trying to break and the new habit that you're trying to bring in, it's being consistent with it is a huge part of it. And it's easy to be motivated in the beginning because our brain, when we do something new, like January, and everybody's like, I'm going to get me a gym membership, and you do something new, your brain produces dopamine and serotonin extra. And that's why you feel so good after yoga class, because your brain just produced a whole bunch of those really good feels. Right, exactly. But shortly after the first few times you do it, you don't always feel that way because it's not new to your body anymore. So then that's why we stop. Right. That's why we stop doing things. So it's to sort of remember that pushing through that, sticking with whatever it is for at least 21 days to build a new habit. And
it's like muscle memory.
Exactly, because that's what it is. It's muscle memory. So you're forming new pathways. So you need to sort of give it time. And I find, and there is psychology to back this up, but I don't have the studies or anything ready. But I totally lost what I was going to say.
I'm thinking about neural pathways. Like when you do something, there's the neural pathways that kind of light up.
Yeah.
And the more you do it, so it's all about repetition.
Oh, yeah, exactly. But what I was going to say is you'll find it's actually scientifically proven the things that your body resists against the most
are the best changes for you. And that's physically, mentally, emotionally. The things that you have the most resistance against
That makes sense.
are what are actually the best choices for you.
That totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I see a lot of places in my life where I'm resistant.
Yeah.
Ha
And you've got a lot of resistance there, but really the reality is once you move through that, that's like the best possible fucking choice you could have chose, right?
Because there's fear.
But our ego is immediately resistant to it because it's like, no, we're cozy over here in our little comfort preconditioned thought patterns, and you creating these new ones are freaking me out a little bit. Yeah.
It's moving past the discomfort.
Yeah.
And I do that with the support of friends.
Yeah.
And putting myself out there.
Yes, exactly. Like this is
our way of trudging forward.
That's right. Maybe uncomfortable sometimes, but
Totally.
we do it. We show up and do it. Yeah. So I think that's the first question.
I like that.
Thanks.
You have such a beautiful way of, like, you bring like the sciencey stuff to it.
Oh, thank you. I was a psychology major, so
we're such a good pair.
People fascinate me in our thought patterns.
Yeah.
And then to couple it with all this stuff, it's like next level woo-woo shit.
Right?
Yeah, I'm into it.
But I stay in the woo-woo shit.
Yeah. I like to try and bring it down.
You bring dopamine and serotonin.
Right.
Like, I like it.
I'm
I'm
the
listening to you
hormones in.
going, why didn't I say that? I know that too on some level.
But I was thinking the same thing when you're answering. I'm like, yeah, I could say that because I know.
Right. That's
No.
true. But
Yeah.
again, perspective.
That's right.
It's where our lens is.
Exactly.
Which is why it's so beautiful to have two perspectives.
I think so.
Next question. How do you deal with unwanted, intrusive thoughts from a spiritual view?
This is where I'm going to sound very similar to you as I sort of welcome them in, and I'm going to go back to that resistance word, but I don't resist them.
Right.
I don't try and push them out, but you don't feed it, which is exactly what you said. I just I like to try and honor my feelings and my emotions, no matter how beautiful or uncomfortable they are, because life is messy and beautiful and heartbreaking and beautiful again, and all of these things. So you just have to sort of let it come through you. And I would loop back around to what you said too. I mean, it depends. This is intrusive thoughts. It's pretty broad. It would depend on the nature of the thoughts. If you're having a really hard time pulling yourself out of thinking of harmful thoughts to yourself and harmful thoughts to others, I would certainly then engage the help of a professional, someone to talk to, someone to help you work through those things. But I've always been interested in why did I just feel that way? Or why did I think that? So for me, a big part of it is not feeding it, acknowledging it. I am aware that I'm thinking that. And then once it sort of goes through me, I'm like, okay, let's go back now that I'm not in it and gonna let myself stick there. Let's go back and revisit this. Where did that come from? Why did I feel that way? Is it something from my childhood? What was it that sparked that thought?
That's right.
Yeah.
In the heat of the moment of it, all we can do is be in it. It's like you got to ride it.
That's right. That's
Riding
not the
the wave.
time to assess it.
That's right.
That's not the time to assess it.
Because then you feed it.
That's right.
And that's the snowball effect.
Yeah.
But if you let it pass, like I like to sleep on things. So
yes, I'm a big, yeah, me too.
And then you kind of wake up and then you're like, okay, do I still feel the same way about this? And then if you do, you start witnessing it.
Yeah, exactly. And ask why. I ask why a lot. I've always asked a lot of questions ever since I was a kid. And I just would ask myself, okay, why? Where is this coming from? What is this? And again, if it's something that I think is concerning or I don't have what's in my toolkit to be able to come up with a response or sort of figure it out, and it's something I want to explore further, then I'll go talk to a psychologist or something. Yeah.
Or me.
Or you. Yeah, that happens.
All right. Third question. How to get closure and let go?
Well, that's a big one. Again, it would go back to sort of what you were saying on what are we getting closure on? What is it? Because the answer and the response is going to be a little bit different depending on the severity of the situation. But what I learned about closure and letting go was releasing things that no longer served me and realizing that they were no longer mine. And again, it's a muscle memory thing. So we're in control of our thoughts, and sometimes our brain likes to make us think otherwise. So it's sort of training myself to almost trick my brain into that I've let go. Maybe it's like affirmations in the mirror of I release all that no longer serves me and I cut ties to all that is not mine, and those types of things. But in my personal experience, what I learned about releasing, letting go, and moving on is that it only hurts me to keep hanging on. It only hurts me to not let go, especially if it's involving another person. And there's nothing more hurtful than feeling like they've moved on and how are they okay? And I'm over here like in a ball on the floor
But
crying.
holding on to, like being able to let go for me too is also a trigger that there's still an unhealed wound.
That's right. So again, you would ask like, why? Why is this? What is so hard about this to let go of?
Right.
What am I gripping at? What am I grasping at? Is it an idea in my head of what I created, of how I thought this should have gone? Is that really what I
The
can't let go of?
expectation. So it's almost like the illusion that you built around.
That's right. And
Yeah.
oftentimes for me, that's what I have a hard time letting go of. And that goes back to control, because I have made this controlled scenario in my head that has gone nothing the way
Yep.
that I had
The word-
planned that it would, because nothing ever does.
That's right.
And so it's sort of, you feel like you're letting go of, if it's a relationship, you're letting go of a dream or an aspiration or whatever it is. And it's really just realizing that it serves you nothing to hold on to that. And that letting it go, I can't tell you how to let it go, because you have to go on that journey yourself, because you have to figure out why you're grasping at it.
That's right. And just to feed off of that, when there's an attachment to something or someone or something, you're actually feeding that energy.
That's right.
So you're actually not allowing yourself to manifest something new.
Yeah, you can't welcome anything else in because
No.
there's this thing blocking you, right?
So until you can actually see what it is, and it's about you, it's not about them.
It's not about them. It has nothing to
Yeah.
do with them, as much as you feel like it has everything to do with them.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Yeah, and it's better for you to just like, it's hard. I still struggle with letting go sometimes about certain things, but you have to going back to what you said at the very beginning of nothing is bad and nothing is good. It just is.
That's right.
Yeah.
And for me, I love this quote, what is meant for you will find you.
Exactly.
What-
Forcing things is
That's right.
the worst.
What flows, flows, and what
Mhm.
doesn't flow, doesn't flow. And we can't force it. It's almost like you're trying to swim upstream.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
And you're just making it harder for yourself.
That's right.
You end up suffering in the long run over someone or something that has no idea. They
That's
don't care that you're suffering. They don't know that you're suffering. Yeah, you're just hurting you.
But they may have an inkling, but have moved on.
Yeah.
And so, but they also know that their part or their role has been served. So there really is I feel like we're all kind of magnets.
Yeah.
So in life, when you have an unhealed wound, what happens is we'll magnetically draw into our life the right people who are going to reflect those wound patterns to us.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it comes in a very loving, gentle, beautiful experience. And other times it can really punch us right in the gut and hurt us and shake us up and make us angry.
Yeah.
Either way, it's still a blessing.
And maybe that was its sole purpose, was
Yes.
to shake you up and make you cry and let you release all sorts of things that you had built up in there that you otherwise wouldn't have released.
That you didn't know you had.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so we thank them. I have so much gratitude for everyone who's come into my life, whether they've offered me a positive experience or a hurtful experience.
Yeah,
Because all experience is what has brought me to
exactly.
now.
It shapes us to
Yeah.
the here and now and where we are. And so
It gives us
ultimately, exactly. And we have control of that. And that's the biggest thing is, you have to make a decision. I decide to let go. Maybe it's a shower ritual. Maybe you stand in the shower and you ask to, to let go, to release you, whatever the language is that feels right for you. And you just picture the water in the shower, washing it all off you and away and down the drain. That can be a way to sort of help with the release process. At least that works for me.
I do different ceremony too. Like I light candles and I do cord cutting. I get to the root of why I had a reaction. You'll know once you ask yourself and declare, I am ready to let this go. Help me. The answers will come.
It will come.
You just have to quiet.
You have to
the mind.
I was just going to say, you have to let yourself bask in the silence a little bit, because it will come to you.
And trust. And maybe it's going to come with the help of another, and you'll be guided that
exactly way. And switch the perspective. Stop thinking of, why did this happen? Why did this happen to me?
You got to get out of the victim shadow.
That's right. And you've got to think, why is this happening in another light?
For me.
Exactly.
For me.
What
not
is this
to me.
here to serve me and teach me?
That's
Not
right.
why is this happening to me?
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, that was brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
I love, we're going to end it just like that.
We are going to read our card.
We're going to read the card. And if you all just want to remember that we have the beautiful new moon in Aquarius. I feel like I did this thing last night where you just kind of take a screenshot on Instagram of what's coming for you in this new moon. And it was partnerships for me.
Oh.
So I look forward to seeing what kind of little mini partnerships and things that I'm going to be able to, collaborations you can do with different people.
Yeah.
So wishing you all a beautiful new moon. Please write down your wishes tonight and what you're hoping to create.
Do it.
Oh. So the card that came out tonight is your hard work is paying off. New moon in Capricorn.
Huh.
I kind of like that for us because we've been doing this since September.
Yeah, we have.
We've been showing up, bearing our souls, and hoping
talking to screens.
Yeah, and hoping that our stories and our wisdom and just who we are is helping other people.
Yeah.
So let's see what new moon in Capricorn is bringing for us.
It would have been too much to get the Aquarius one. Right? That would have been too bang on.
But it's a new moon.
It's true. Oh yeah, it is a new moon.
Okay, so this is the card for everyone who tuned in. First and foremost, this card suggests a new start for you professionally. Whatever has been going on in your working life, this card heralds the start of a new and improved work cycle. If you're unhappy in your current job, this is the time to either renegotiate your position or look for something new. Whatever your question, whether work-related or otherwise, a new plan and strategy is called for. You need to take a look at the long term and think about where you want to be in 12 months or even 5 years' time. That will inform your best course of action now, so think seriously about it. Drawing this card suggests it's time for you to be ambitious about whatever it is you want to achieve. And that's what we were saying earlier. This energy right now is hot.
This is good. Move. Get up. Dance.
Start dreaming. Oh, we were just talking about movement. I've been called to move.
It's funny. She's been craving slow dance.
Yeah.
I've been craving like dirty, sweaty club dancing.
Yeah. Different energy. Like I just want to like close my eyes and move and sway and be all sensual.
Like, go
and you want to bang it.
Party. I mean, in reality, I sit home and drink tea.
But that's a part of you that wants expression.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
There's
I'm gonna have a dance party in my kitchen.
That wild woman inside of you that wants to like
she's
come out and let loose.
I expressed her a lot in my 20s.
She wants to come out and play. You see?
I'll let her come out.
Yeah. So there you have it, guys.
Thank you.
We love you. And in 2 weeks' time, we have a guest. Her name is Laura. And you're going to hear something, a beautiful share from her.
Yeah. We're excited. Bye.
Bye. All right.